Hello, boys and girls. Miss Kowalczyk here for today's story. So, we are going to be reading Maximus and the Beanstalk. Now, do you know any other stories that have a beanstalk in it? Have a think. I know one very famous story. It is so famous it's called a fairy tale or a traditional tale, which means that it's told over and over again over a number of years. Yeah, it is Jack and the Beanstalk. Fantastic. So we are going to read Maximus and the Beanstalk. And I'm going to give you a little hint. It kind of has to do with Jack and the Beanstalk, but it has a crazy twist on it. So today, as I'm reading the story, I want you to have a think about how it relates to Jack and the Beanstalk and how it's different. All right? So let's have a look at the book. Maximus and the Beanstalk. It's written by Damian Harvey and illustrated by David Lopez. Maximus had been busy all day helping his mom and dad. He had fed the goose with a delicious golden coin. He had picked vegetables from the garden. Can you see what vegetables he's picking? What one is that? Carrots, very good. He had even helped to mend a hole in the roof of the windmill. What a good boy, said Mom. Dad gave Maximus a shiny gold penny. Wow, how lucky is he? Look at how beautiful that gold penny is. Wow. Maximus always kept the gold pennies his dad gave him for being kind and helpful. At dinner time, Maximus put the shiny gold penny next to his bowl. Mom had cooked a huge pile of sprouts. Dad had made a big jug of delicious fishy sauce. Ooh, I don't know if I consider that delicious. Have a look at his food there. Would you consider that delicious? Maybe not. Yum, said Maximus. Sprouts and fishy sauce, my favorite. Maximus was about to take a bite when the cottage began to shake and the table began to rattle. The sprouts began to roll off his plate and onto the floor. Oh my goodness, what's happening? Why is everything shaking and rattling? Oh my goodness, let's find out. My prize-winning sprouts, cried Mom. My world-famous fishy sauce, cried Dad. My yummy dinner, cried Maximus. A huge green beanstalk was shooting up through the floor of their cottage. It smashed through their table. It crashed through their roof. So what was the reason that the house was shaking? Yeah, a beanstalk had gone through their entire house. Oh my goodness. Dad rushed outside to look at the roof. Mom ran to the kitchen to look for a broom. Maximus just looked at the hole on the floor. He looked and he stared and he saw something climbing up the beanstalk. What do you think it was that was climbing up the beanstalk? He could see tiny little hands. He could see a tiny little face. It's a tiny, gasped Maximus. So, what do you think Maximus is? If this person is really small, climbing up a beanstalk, what do you think Maximus is? Yeah, a giant. Very good. The tiny jumped off the beanstalk and ran across the floor. Who are you? Asked Maximus. I'm Jack, shouted the tiny, and I spy gold. The tiny grabbed Maximus's shiny gold penny. Hey, cried Maximus, that's mine. The tiny stamped on Maximus's hand and ran off. Ow, my thumb, howled Maximus. The tiny was nimble and quick and disappeared down the beanstalk before you could say, fee, fi, fo, fum, or anything else. Look at his poor thumb. That must really hurt. Maximus told his mom and dad all about the tiny. I thought you didn't believe in tinies anymore, said Mom. Tinies are only in stories, said Dad. That night, Maximus could not get to sleep. He was thinking about the tiny and his gold penny, and his thumb was still sore. So the singing harp sang him songs until he was snoring to his heart's content. So we have a golden penny, which was already stolen. Now we have a golden harp that's playing music. When Maximus woke up, the singing harp was nowhere to be seen. Oh my goodness, look, it had disappeared. And someone had spilled his favorite crunchy muesli and broccoli yogurt all over the floor. Broccoli yogurt? That's weird. Who would have done that? Said Dad. It must have been the tiny, laughed Mom. So if Mom is laughing about saying it must have been the tiny, do you think she believes it? No, she's being sarcastic. So she doesn't actually think that there's a tiny. Maximus followed the trail of yogurt, boop, 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 right to the beanstalk. It was the tiny, said Maximus. There are no such thing as tinies, said Dad. You'll see, said Maximus. Later, when Maximus was collecting the goose's eggs, the tiny appeared again. I spy more gold, said the tiny. I'll give you this golden egg if you give me back my singing harp, said Maximus. I know you took it. I don't want an egg, cried the tiny. I want that goose. The tiny kicked Maximus's thumb. Do you remember why Maximus has a bandage on his thumb? Yeah, because he stomped on it yesterday. It was so sore. He put a bandage on it. And now today, the tiny is kicking his thumb. That's not very kind. And he ran off with the goose. Oh my goodness. What a mean tiny. Oh, my sore thumb, howled Maximus. And he ran after the tiny. He chased the tiny into the yard where Dad was mending the table. Come back with our goose, cried Dad. They chased the tiny into the kitchen where Mom was baking bread. Come back with our goose, cried Mom. They chased the tiny all through the house. But the tiny was nimble and quick and disappeared down the beanstalk before you could say, fee, fi, fo, fum, or anything else. This time, Maximus followed him. The tiny ran into his house and slammed the door. So Maximus knocked on the door as politely as he could. Maximus told Jack's mom what her son had been up to. He told her about the gold penny, the singing harp, and the goose. He told her about the mess he'd made with the muesli and yogurt. He even told her about his sore thumb. Jack's mom was furious. What does furious mean? That's a very good word to use. Furious. If you know what furious is, make the face of what you would make if you were furious. It means so mad. It means angry. It means like over the top angry, furious, okay? The next morning, Maximus ate 2 big bowls of his favorite crunchy muesli and broccoli yogurt. Then he ate 3 pieces of toast covered in his favorite sticky carrot jam. Don't worry about the mess, said Jack's mom. Jack will clean it up. So what was Jack's punishment for being so mean to Maximus? Yeah, he had to clean Maximus's house. Wow, what a fantastic book that is. Now, in the comments below, you can write what you think are the similarities and the differences between Maximus and the Beanstalk and Jack and the Beanstalk. If you're using this for class, listen to your teacher next and they'll tell you what to do for your work today. Bye, boys and girls.